Ooh, another episode, I guess, of what's on my shelving unit. Some random things that are special to me that I wanted to share with you. So this is my kind of medical death, mutant cannibal sort of shelf. With some tea and a candle. Oh, nice. Yeah, so let's see. This is a copy of the Edwin Smith Surgical Papyrus, which is phenomenal. And it's got the hieroglyphic transliteration as well as the hieroglyphics themselves. The facsimiles from the plates that they are reading and translating from. And it basically goes through a lot of medical situations that the Egyptians came across and what they did for them. So you'll see things like them discussing tumors, discussing cracked skulls, ways to alleviate the pain, herbs to take for it, stones and things like that. What I found odd about this was they didn't translate the gemstones they were discussing. They just left them as the hieroglyphic name. So I guess there's a few that at the time that this was translated were still open to discussion, and with some of the green and blue stones, yeah, we're not sure which one is which exactly, but you can pretty much, well, I don't want to say guess. It's almost certain, but anyway, I guess I found that odd because they didn't even give options of what it could be when we knew that at least it was a green stone or a blue stone. So they could have put a footnote. But anyway, just got this. I'm so excited to read it. Probably I'll be reading it in January because I cannot take this on the road with me, but I'm really excited to learn about Egyptian medical stuff because it's always been fascinating to me. Some of the, well, I mean, I've been really studying that for quite some time, but it's really, anyway, fascinating. So the next book is The Last Dance by Despiedler and Strickland, and this was my textbook for my death and dying class. And it goes through a lot of things to do with death and dying, so suicide and living wills and regular wills and grieving and the stages of grieving, and not just death but also dealing with people and caring for people, more so. Caring for people who have been diagnosed with terminal illness, who have been told they're going to die, and, you know, it's a lot of focusing on how to treat them as a person, as opposed to ignoring the fact that they're sick and actually being able to talk to them about that. And a lot of the things that come from this book were inspired by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and this is a book by her on death and dying, which if you haven't read it, I think you should. It's definitely a topic we shouldn't ignore, but it's about her studies with dying patients and things they had to say, both adults and children, and the studies that she started that were controversial at first. People of the Valley is by Wynne Sargent. It's about a cannibal tribe, I think it was in New Guinea, and I think I'm wrong, but this may also be from New Guinea, something my mom picked up for me in her travels, or travels of her friends. I can't really get into that without giving it all away, but I'll leave that sort of as a mystery. But I found this book really, really interesting. I got it for $1 at the library book sale, and I haven't been able to part with it yet, so I actually haven't been able to find too many copies of it around. But yeah, there's the there's the code if you want to look it up at your local library. Serpent in the Rainbow, of course, I have read that by Wade Davis, and I found it quite interesting at the time. Way better than the movie, which I only saw part of and then turned it off kind of out of disgust, but I really enjoyed reading about that and being inspired to learn more about voodoo, but not voodoo like on TV voodoo, like real voodoo. This book, Mutants, it's amazing. It's about medical oddities, human medical oddities, and I always had this odd fear of the Cyclops, and this is a long story short, but I have a recurring dream of a Cyclops, and then the day after I have that dream, which is pretty much a nightmare because they come to kill me, but I haven't had it for a while, someone with an injury to their eye will come into the store that I'm working, or my place of business, and try to talk to me, and pretty much it means time to get a new job. And honestly, every time that's happened, there's been some reason where I've had to leave my job, and not because of that. So I realized that's what that was. I've had that dream probably 5 or 6 times in my life, and they always freaked me out. So I had to learn about what causes these kinds of things and be more open about it and not just have this irrational fear for some reason. So I've been learning about those. So things like, well, actually, I'm not going to say, because if I say it, I'm going to use the politically incorrect terms. So, because I need to relearn them. But a lot like stunt growth and different ways that people grow. Oh, and also different mutations that will come out in the human body at a certain age, because we've never lived. I mean, because our lifespan has been elongating, there's a lot of mutations that we avoided before that come in when the body starts changing again. So that was really cool. And here, oh no, that's a cinnamony tea that is too intense for me, and that's an oolong tea. But this is for people who come over who want something a little spicier, but it's too fruity for me. Anyways, it's in there. Death and Salvation in Ancient Egypt. Jan Assmann is amazing. Amazing, amazing. I don't agree with everything that's said in it, but it really gets you thinking, and it's talking about the human mind and their belief in death and salvation, and not a Book of the Dead stuff per se, the way that people will talk about it on TV. And it does talk about how they would doubt what they believed in, which makes it even more human. So I love this approach. And like I said, there's a few things I didn't agree with. So the first few pages in this book, I believe, have big yellow marks on them where I go, no, or circle these passages that I want to discuss later on, probably in a vlog or vlog. The Mummy in Ancient Egypt, hardcover, amazing book. If you want to learn about mummies, this is the only book you should get, because it discusses the changes in mummification and the evolution of the preservation of the body, the reasons why they got into it, different methods of burial. It's not all pyramids, it's not all ripping out the viscera. It talks about why they did it, what it means, and it's amazing. And there's beautiful pictures that discuss different kinds of sarcophagi, coffins, whatever. This is the book you should get. Never mind any of the thin ones. If it's thin and skinny and it's a study of one mummy, leave it alone. It's not, you're wasting your time. Seriously. So here, and seriously, I feel really strong about that. This is a little tray of odds and ends. So this is a, I think I would say, canine skull that I found at the beach. Actually, I did not find it. Someone else found it, but this beach I go to in Nova Scotia, every time I went, I would find a dead animal that had been mostly picked clean. This is the only one that managed to stay intact. Okay, well, the skull was kind of intact. Enough for me to take it. I had to bring it on carry-on. No, I didn't, actually. I packed it in a small little box and put it in the very roof of the truck that I was moving across Canada in, because I knew I couldn't take it on the plane, but got 2 teeth intact, and the mandible, I bleached it myself, and I cleaned it myself. Obviously, I did not clean this. There's another tooth somewhere. Oh, there it is. It goes in here somewhere. I'm not going to shove it in there improperly, looking through the camera only, because I'm just going to make a mess, so I'll put it down there. But yeah, that's also part of that. Then there's the bone, the boar tusk, which was actually eaten, not just ripped apart for its tusk. Stethoscope, everyone needs to have a stethoscope. A nail cross that I got from a very close friend of mine. A scalpel, more than one scalpel, because you just need them. Some piercing pliers. Some Wartenberg wheels, which are a neurology tool. It's a really interesting texture, but I think it was used for neurology. It was an old medical tool. It's really not used anymore. And then a little necklace made of tiles. At a hospital craft center made for me by a friend of mine who worked there. So yeah, there's my odd medical shelf. And I hope you enjoyed the weirdness that was therein, and I can keep you posted on some of the books, like the Surgical Papyrus, which is going to blow my mind. I just know it. And I can't wait to read the rest of this. I had to put it down because I was angry about one of the things that was being mentioned in it. And also, I was taking a break from history at the time, so I will get back into it, but it is a really, really excellent read. So, thanks for listening.